All right, Craig. Got a chance to win a series in Seattle. Up 5-3. Emilio Pagan trying to hold on. I'm at an 0-2 count, which based off of our previous experiences, you don't the hitter just stepped into the box. But are you in this? Are you in the ballpark?
No, I'm 0-2 as well. Tyler Stevenson out to speak with Pagan.
Yep. Now they're running some highlight package. Yeah.
Yep. I think you might be like a second ahead of me, but you know what? That's okay.
Okay. Well, they just went back to Pagan 0-2. We'll see if we can't get a pitch clock here.
You're like a second ahead of me.
I think
Pagan. Let's see.
Yep, back to the hitter.
Drops the ball and on the mound and back to the hitter.
For like 5 seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, Perfect. 6, 5, 4.
We'll sync up next pitch, and we'll sync up next pitch right here.
All right, sounds good. 82 mile an hour in the dirt.
Yeah, it wasn't a strike, but it didn't need to be. It's 1-2. All right. I got a pitch clock that comes up, starts at 10. I am pausing it at 5. So you let me know.
Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Pitch.
Down.
Low again, 2-2.
All right.
All right, let's get us up on
kind of a weird time. You know, there's midday baseball, Craig, and then there's this. This is kind of like just a weird way to watch a baseball game because at least oh my gosh, Dad, that hit it in the face.
No, I think he got out of the way.
Oh, we got action, boss. I need to see the replay of that. You better watch your lips, son. Comes off that padding. It's coming off that padding a little harder than it does in Little League. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come on, man. That thing ripped right past his face. Chat, did that hit him in the face or not? If you're watching this game, you know what I'm talking about too. You don't even need me to explain. Holy smokes, that was hilarious, kind of. I mean, I don't mean to root against people in life, but it would have been like objectively funny if he wore that in the face. I reserve the right to take it back if they show a close up and it's either a kid or a woman. I reserve the right to take.
I mean, it's definitely a kid, right? I don't know.
I don't think so. That looked like a grown man. That's why I'm rooting for. That's why I was rooting for a little bit. Why do humans feel that way? Why do I feel that way? If it's a grown 35-year-old man, why am I okay with him getting hit in the face? But if it's a kid or a woman, you better watch out.
Give me another chance.
Let me see here. Hold on.
That looks like a kid to me. I don't know.
All right, maybe it is a kid. I need a close up though.
But like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I need the chat to let me know. Is it a kid? Male, female out there running around? I'm not sure. Can't really tell. High school, I would give you high school kid, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a 12-year-old kid out there, but I don't know. We need a close up.
All right, well.
Full count. Josh Naylor making us work.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I have it as a final on the. Sorry, guys.
Well,
bottom of the ninth.
Right. Bottom of the ninth. 5-3.
Naylor.
1 out.
Flies out. 1 down. We got 1.
We do. Shout out to Pagan throwing strikes so far. I said so far too, by the way.
Yeah, what was that? A 9-pitch at bat though to start the inning?
Yeah,
not exactly what you're looking for.
Well, I mean, we'll take it. I mean, if it ends in an out, we'll take it.
An out is an out at this point.
Yeah.
Got to throw some strikes though. You got a 2-run lead. If Cal Raleigh hits a bomb off you, he hits a bomb off you.
That's right.
Also, I just noticed we're both wearing white. Do I need to like go change during the 4-minute intro? And
I can if you want me to. Would it be? What if we both went and changed, and then we came back with another color that was the same? I think that might be worse.
I think that would be objectively hilarious, though.
Yeah, I agree. All right, 2-1. Pagan doesn't look like he's going to beat the pitch clock on this, but maybe he will. Oh, he did. He barely beat it.
At one, and he threads a needle.
Dotted a strike. Dotted a strike. Man, he literally came set with like 4 seconds left. All right, this one looks
2-2 to Cal Raleigh. Yet again, pitching at 1 on the clock. In the dirt. Full count.
Well, that's back-to-back counts that have gone full. Gets Naylor to fly out to center field. And now we see what Cal Riley's fate is.
The payoff. Swung and sent
Wasn't
to first base.
Strike, but
Sal's
we'll take
got it.
We'll take it.
2 down, 1 to get.
That was for all those guys that always say you need to protect the plate, do you? Because that's what you get sometimes when you try to protect the plate. You get a lazy out instead of ball 4. So I'll take it.
Take it all day.
In that spot, maybe if there's a guy on third base with less than 2 outs. Or a guy on second base and you got to get him over to third. But yes, in general. Very thankful Cal Riley swung at that. Luke Raley, which reminds me of Jake Fraley every single time he comes to the plate.
Every time.
It's like there's no way of not thinking of that. See if he isn't capable of ending this thing. And then therefore you can go back to your bottom of the 9th to final. And it would have been right. It's kind of like the broken clock is right twice a day. It would have ultimately been right at some point if we can find a way to get this final out. Still a long way to go, especially if you're a Reds fan. You know all too well about how things can go at times. Pagan, though, has been in the zone. Although has ran a couple counts full, he's made the pitches that he's needed to make. Command isn't great.
No.
But he's found a way to throw, like every time he's done this, he's found a way to throw a couple strikes in a row to get you in a spot where you get out of it. See if he's capable of doing it again.
Got him to pop it up.
There you go. Yep. Couldn't quite see it, but JJ Bleday takes care of it. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win, Craig. 5-3. We'll be back to talk all about it here in just a moment.
Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McLean's first big league bomb.
Spin
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line, doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially won a series in Seattle. First time in the history of the oldest franchise in baseball, Craig. I don't know how many times that we've been to Seattle, but I do know this. That's quite the stat in 2026. It's not like Seattle. It's not like the Seattle Mariners just popped up overnight, Craig. They've been around for quite some time. Now, to be fair, I get it. Interleague play, the whole concept of playing everybody every single season. Even still, you have every other year where you actually play at the other opponent's facility, if you want to call it that, or stadium. I get it. That doesn't always come around all that often, Craig. But the idea that the oldest franchise in baseball just knocked off something for the first time in the history of their franchise is quite something. So we'll crack open a ballpark beer to that. And another win. That's 2 in a row, Craig. Amazing one in the chat said, you can't win 20 in a row unless you win 2. And you know what? Hey, shout out to them because he's not wrong. I mean, they got a long way to go, but winning is fun. Fixes a lot of problems, Craig.
It's a fact. You can't win 20 without winning 2. Look, we went into the All-Star break, heads dangling between our legs, coming out of the All-Star break, heading west now. Won 4 out of 6 out west. Pick up a series win in Colorado, pick up a series win now in Seattle. Some are saying this team might be back, Trace. I don't know. Not me. I would never say that. But hey, 2 series wins to start the second half is solid. And look, Seattle came in with hopes of sweeping the Reds to get back into playoff contention, and instead they lose the series. Reds now go to the Cardinals with a chance to really make headway. I don't know. By the end of the weekend, are we going to be talking about a completely different situation here, Trace?
No, but that's cute. I liked it. I thought it was a very good runway that you had there, and I even loved the line. I think you meant tail between our legs, but instead you said head between our legs, which is whoa. I don't know. Some are saying kind of crazy to say on a live stream, but you know what, Craig? I'll let you do you. Anyways, don't want to bring it up again, but you did say that. But nonetheless, it's nice to be back with you, Craig. We are we're off and running on a weird time. We mentioned there during the game itself. It's a really weird time. I listened to maybe an inning or two on the radio there to begin the game. Caught the game on the television side of things towards the back half, and it's just really a kind of a unique thing because during day games you kind of have the chance to watch it during business hours, but this one was kind of like started at the late end of the business hours and then it ran past business hours, and I don't know how many Reds fans got a chance to watch all 9 innings. I don't know how many Reds fans are still watching all 9 innings, but I do know this: the loyal chat and the loyal listeners of this program certainly do more times than not, and we appreciate them for it. All right, as always,
we know Kirk Herbstreit is not watching all.
Of course, yeah, and can I say something? First of all, Kirk Herbstreit, I have nothing against him. I actually think Kirk Herbstreit's good at his job. Personally, I think it's pretty impressive how hard he works. He does Thursday night football. He turns around and has to do college game day. His son was in high school football there for a decent amount of time. He had to fly somewhere on Thursday. He had to fly back on Friday, watch his kid, be a good dad. And then on Saturday, he had college game day, and then he had to call the game on Saturday night that he had to fly somewhere else. And then he had to basically get home on Sunday and prep for the next Thursday's game and do it all over again. The guy works incredibly hard. I'm not taking anything away from the guy and the worker. But this whole concept of him being this diehard Reds fan that tunes in, night out, I've got to be honest with you. The guy didn't know who Elly De La Cruz was a few years ago. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Okay? This is the same guy that yelled and screamed about Jonathan India was a leader on this team and there's no way that you could trade him. This is the same guy that blocked me. I have no ill will towards him, but he blocked me because I put out one single tweet, and it's a fact. It's a real fact. What I tweeted was perfect in the sense that it was. I said that the Reds are hot. The Reds are so hot that they have Kirk Herbstreit tweeting about them. That means they are red hot. That's what I put, and he took offense to that. But I'm on point. The guy, listen, I get it. He's like the rest of us. We want to see the Reds win, gets frustrated when they don't. But this whole notion that, first of all, you know what? We don't have a lot to talk about on these shows anymore, so why not go in on Kirk Herbstreit? I have, again, this idea that the season's over in mid-May. It's pretty much done in mid-May. What are we talking about? I mean, they just went to the postseason last year. I get it. You could say that it didn't mean anything. So what? But there was meaningful baseball that was played. The last few years, there's been meaningful baseball that's played. Yeah, 2024 wasn't awesome, but 2023, they were up into the running until the last day of the season. That was one of the most enjoyable seasons. And I get where he's coming from, but I mean, come on, man. You know what really pisses me off is that the Reds are going to roll out the red carpet for old Kirk Herbstreit the next time they're good again. They're going to give him jerseys. He's going to sit in the diamond, the whatever the thing is called anymore, the diamond seats. But my point is, and I'm not asking for that. I could care less. But it's just you can't have it both ways. You can't act like you're, a diehard fan, not know maybe the top prospect. I don't know. Does he know who Hector Rodriguez is? I feel like if you are a legit fan, you should know who the organization's legitimate top prospect is. And I don't know. Does he have a clue who Steele Hall is? Probably not. And you know what? I'm not saying you have to be that, to be clear, to be a Reds fan. I'm not gatekeeping at all. You be a Reds fan however you want to be a Reds fan, but you don't get to say you're a diehard every dayer and then turn around and not know stuff, like the obvious things. Anyways, I digress. I mean, he didn't know who C. Trent Rosecrans was, which I mean, I'm not trying to get into the weeds of that all, but it's, come on. I'm moving on. I like Kirk Herbstreit. That's the thing that's crazy. I think he's really good at his job.
You got to give the guy a lot of respect. I mean, like you said, works harder than most, and I think does a pretty good job at it. But yeah, to say their season ended in late April is what he said, Trace. Late April, right. When by the way,
2011.
They started the season 20-11. Yeah, and to your point, Reds baseball is just a disaster, and it has been for 13 straight years. Well, like you said, playoffs last year. But here's the one thing that maybe we can agree on. That's my problem, is I care too much. I need to get to the stage where you just don't care anymore. I think we can all agree that maybe it would be better off if we all just got to the stage where we just didn't care anymore. And yet here we are, talking about Reds baseball, all 162, Trace.
Yeah, we signed up for that. You know what? We're doing it.
Nation.
Yeah, we're doing it. I mean, listen, I'm not a quitter. If you say you're going to do all 162, I don't quit. I'll do them. I don't know how good the shows get towards the back end of it all, but by God, the internet, if it's on and it's working, there's going to be a stream. So we win 5-3. Got the Kirk Herbstreit news out of the way, and now we get to jump into the box score recap.
Let's do it. Chatterbox Reds is brought to you by Sharefax Credit Union. Sharefax is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by its members that returns earnings to them through lower fees and better rates in addition to traditional banking options. Sharefax Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender and is insured by NCUA. All right, Reds wrapping up their series with the Mariners, looking for their first series win in Seattle ever. Brady Singer took the ball for the Redlegs, facing off with Emerson Hancock. The Mariners struck first as Josh Naylor singled in the second inning, then scored after stealing a base on a Cal Raleigh single for a 1-0 Mariners lead. Reds tied it in the fourth as J.J. Bleday led off the inning with a home run deep to right field. Tyler Stevenson would give the Redlegs the lead later on in the inning when he doubled, then scored on a Dane Myers single. 2-1 Reds lead. Mariners struck back in the bottom, though, as Luke Raley hit a 2-out, 2-run single, scoring a Rosarena and Naylor to give them a 3-2 lead after 4. Score would stay that way until Sal Stewart hit a 2-out opposite field 3-run home run in the top of the 7th inning to give the Reds a 5-3 lead. Brady Singer pitched all the way into the 7th inning, officially going 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Brock Burke came in and closed out the 7th for Singer and worked a scoreless 8th. Emilio Pagan came in and worked a perfect 9th inning to give the Reds a 5-3 win and a series win for the Redlegs. And before we get into it, Trace, obviously I had multiple options here for deep dive of the game. So I'm interested in your opinion. Is this meant to be the deepest drive? Because I have traditionally gone impactful drive.
Yeah, I mean, like I would like to think that it's however you interpret it. You know, we can leave it up. We can leave it up for a little bit of gray there. It doesn't need to be black and white, Craig. So I'd say whatever you chose, it works. Sal Stewart. I mean, that was, massive swing. We'll talk about Edwin Arroyo in a minute. He ought to be thanking his lucky stars for a few things that happened in this game, but Sal Stewart hitting a home run is one of them. Fly ball to right field. Arroyo would score. Brian Hayes would score. 103 off the bat, 369 feet. That would give the Reds a 78% chance to win the game, and as we all know, it wound up being 100%, but get this. That swing and that swing alone was a 49% uptick. You don't see that often, folks. You don't see that often. So shout out to Sal Stewart and a big swing, and he was fired up about it. And what we're fired up about it is to tell you that the Deep Drive of the Day is brought to you by Braxton Brewing Company, the official craft beer partner of the Cincinnati Reds. Crack open a Ballpark Beer, a crisp German-style light lager crafted perfectly for 9 innings and hot summer nights. Grab a cold one at Great American Ballpark, Braxton Taprooms, or your local retailer. Braxton Brewing is brewed for Reds country. And I have, like I said, just cracked one open there for the Ballpark Beer. And who should be cracking one open right now? And very thankful before we jump into Brady Singer is Edwin Arroyo. There was 2 things that happened in this game that were very, very impactful. One being the fact that he drops a throw from Elly at second base that he has to catch. I mean, I don't know how to say it. Like, you have to catch the ball. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's a new position. He's just not making some basic plays that I would expect him to make. And on top of that, even, they're not even plays that I would think are even positional, like, difference makers. Catching a throw from the catcher to try to tag somebody out at second base or stopping a ball from going into center field from a throw from the catcher, I mean, I guess you're coming in a different angle, but as a guy who played a little bit of baseball, like, that's not that big of a difference. and he's not making those plays. And then today, obviously, you're just trying to catch the ball literally, and he doesn't catch it. He traps the ball, Craig. For those that didn't watch the game, he kind of cages it on the ground, and I think personally, we've complained a lot on this show at times about how the Reds are on the wrong side of these challenges and how we get basically hosed by the call stands moniker. We got a break today. I think that ball was not secured, and thankfully that they called him out on the field, so they had to hide behind the play stands. So that fortunately takes an out out of the inning, but it also keeps a runner off the base pass. The very next pitch, a guy hits a ball in the gap that obviously certainly would have scored. Would have scored the guy from second base, and then on top of that, he steals second base today. And I don't care if it's a hit and run. I don't care if it's not a hit and run and you're just trying to steal. You still have to take a quick little peek. They teach you that pretty much since you're at a high school age, I'd like to think. But the more and more I watch baseball, I feel like I'm getting old because I used to remember old people complaining about how fundamentals are going away. I don't know why he just didn't peek back as he stole second base to have a clue where the baseball was. But Brian Hayes, got a hit. I was going to make a joke there, but I'm going to try to be nice. Brian Hayes got a hit, and Arroyo had no clue where the ball was, so he's sliding into second, staring up and looking at everybody like, what's going on? He could have easily been to third base if he had a clue. And the next hitter comes up, and Sal Stewart hits Elly De La Cruz hits a fly ball to left field that would have easily scored Arroyo from third base. And thankfully, with 2 outs, Sal Stewart, with the deep drive of the day, saves the day. Because other than that, if this game goes sideways, I think Arroyo is being a discussion today about how, he's just got to be better. And I don't know what the expectations are for him moving forward. And certainly he's a young enough player where you just want him to kind of take his you need him to play every day. It's not a guy that you're trying to, punish or anything like that. But truth is I hope he starts to play better because we need him to. I'll leave it at that, Craig.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First and foremost, you and Nick love to jump ahead on my J bars. I do this all the time. I give us J bars. You guys insist on having 2 of them, and then we can't see what's on the second one. And guess what? Every single night, you guys jump ahead on me. I got to scramble and try and figure out what to do, move things around. Singer deserves to be on the front half of this J bar, and you're here making me talk about Edwin Arroyo, which is on the back half.
Then save it. That's a big league tease.
No, Trace. Too late. Secondly, yeah, I started this conversation ago, but there are some very basic things that Edwin Arroyo has struggled with. You're talking about the stealing specifically, which has stood out to me. His turning double plays lately has not been very good. Him and Elly are just not on the same page, whether he just seems kind of slow with it. So that has to get better. There's a number of things that Edwin Arroyo defensively has been struggling with, and 100% there needs to be he needs to get better there. And for somebody who was specifically looked at as a defensive specialist who can hit the ball, but we're not bringing him up here for his offense. He's got to be better defensively. That part definitely has to come around. On the steal, we're taught, to your point, since Little League, you break for the base. When you're about halfway there, you look, you find the ball, and you figure out can I keep going? Do I need to go back? What's going on? Can I keep running? The one thing I'll say is that if he would have found the ball, I'm not really sure that he would have made it to third anyway, because if I remember correctly, it was kind of a line drive to center field, and he probably would have froze like 3/4 of the way anyway. And I don't know if he would have got to third. That's my only saving grace for Edwin here on that one. You mentioned the stands. When I watched it, I thought it was the stands. I didn't think it was conclusive either way, but regardless, if Edwin Arroyo is going to stick on this team long term, defensively, he's got to be better, because that's what's kind of been his saving grace. And yes, the versatility is nice, and yes, he's moved around a little bit, but truth of the matter is that he's got to be better. And it's some of the basics, to your point, that he's been struggling with. So shout out to him though. I don't want to overlook all of it, right? I mean, he still had a good game offensively. He picked up that walk that you talked about. If I remember correctly, as I pull it up, he was like 2 for 3 on the day. Had a single and 2 singles maybe. So anyway, like shout out to him. He's playing okay offensively. He's holding his own, which was something that we were worried about. But yes, to your point, some defensive challenges have popped up, and that's got to get better.
He was 2 for 3 with a walk, and I clearly I'm not saying that he had a horrible game. I'm just saying the reality is that he had a couple situations in this game in which would have been one of the main talking points if the Reds had lost. And I like a show where I like, in my opinion, an analysis that doesn't always base everything off of the end result no matter what, because ultimately he has nothing to do whether or not Sal Stewart hits a home run, and he's got nothing to do whether or not the Reds can find a way to kind of hold that inning, or whether or not the replay operators in New York decide to say call stands or not. So it's just something to food for thought. Glad we got that off the back end of the rundown, and we'll see what's left on there. Brady Singer, maybe we spent too much time talking about Edwin instead of him. He is a 5th starter. That's who he is. 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks and a walk. That's about as good of a stat line as you can ask out of Brady Singer. Yes, I guess theoretically he'll probably have some better starts throughout his career, but let's face it, if that's the type of performance that you're going to get out of him, then you would have, taken it and ran to begin the year. So good for him. I don't know what, as Nick has said before, I think he's maybe the most valuable piece that the Reds have when it comes to trade pieces at the end of the deadline that they clearly have to get rid of. But it's nice to see him, 1, stay healthy, and 2, have a good game heading into the trade deadline.
Yeah, in his last 10 outings, he's allowed more than 3 earned runs just once. And, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about, well, this is just a guy that you just have to throw out there and just expect that he's going to give up 3, 4, 5 runs every single time, but he's going to go out there every 5 days. He's going to pitch the ball, and you're just going to get what you get. Well, over those last 10 outings, he's been much better, significantly better. 3 earned runs today, 2 last time, 1, 2. He had that one blow up at Pittsburgh where he gave up 5 runs. But before that, Milwaukee shut out 7 innings, 1 run against the Mets, 2 runs against the Padres, 1 earned run against the Cardinals. Like, he's on a very, very good stretch right now. And I don't know that he's necessarily getting the credit that he deserves for turning his season around. His ERA was up over 6.2 at that point 10 games ago. And now it's all the way down to 4.53. He's dropped his ERA almost 1.75 points over the course of that 10-game stretch. Like, he's been really good. And to your point, he probably is the most valuable piece in terms of like expiring contracts. Like, I think there's probably other guys that are more valuable that could be moved. Someone like a Nick Lodolo, maybe something like that. JJ Bleday. But in terms of your expiring contracts that 100% without question should be moved by August 3rd, he's by far your most valuable. Now, what does that mean that you get in return? Still not sure that it's like super big, but a couple like high prospects that maybe you can count on contributing a little bit would be probably a decent return for him. And again, if we would have had to trade him after those first, 10 starts of his year or whatever, we would have been lucky to get anybody to take him. So we got to be happy with the way things have been going for him. I certainly am. Yeah,
I mean, since June, to your point, he's really only had 1 outing where he's walked more than 3 guys. And then the last handful of outings, his last 3 starts, he's only walked 2 guys, and he's thrown what is essentially 7 innings, and 6 2/3. So, he's been really, really good over the last handful of starts, and we'll see whether or not that continues. But, Brady Singer.
Well, they talked about it on the broadcast. The control was a big issue. I mean, going before that stretch, he was throwing, I think, 54% first pitch strikes, and now he's up over 70% over the last stretch. Like, control was a major issue for him early in the year, and he wasn't getting the chase that I think he was hoping for. And now, not only is he controlling it better, but he's getting a little bit more chase as well, which, at the time, I thought his walk numbers would inflate a little bit, but he's been able to continue to get chase from the batters. And he's also been able, especially to those left-handed batters we saw today early on, he's been able to bring that fastball, make it look like it's coming inside, and bring it back across the inner part of the plate for strikes, and got a couple early looking strikeouts on some nice looking pitches.
Vandy 5140 wants to know, what if we don't suck? I don't know. I'm not going to bite that.
I was kind of kidding, but like, hey, people are asking. People are asking.
That shows you how desperate this fan base is. You win a couple in a row, and boy, we just trying to get back any way we can. Schmick-schmack.
They're 5.5 behind St. Louis right now, going into St. Louis. Just throwing it out there.
That's fair. Someone's got to be the Nick Kirby on this show. God knows if me and Craig get down a rabbit hole, it'll get pretty bad really fast. Schmick-schmack says that Espinal would have been the piece to get us in the playoffs, but of course Krall failed us yet again. I think there's a lot of humor there with old Schmick-schmack. I don't know. Is Espinal? I know he got released. Maybe he got picked back up. I don't know. Is he playing with Candelario? I think he's in the Dodgers
minor league system right now.
Playing with Nick Senzel.
God, no. Where I don't remember where Nick Senzel signed, but
he's playing for the. What do you mean?
Legends,
he's playing for the Kentucky Legends.
Kentucky Legends.
Hell yeah. Brandon Phillips stomping
Santiago
grounds.
Espinal currently at the Round Rock Express, the AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. Early on in his tenure there, but he's hitting .242 with a .551 OPS in the minors this season.
Yeah. Got to think that's probably the end of the run for him here at some point. He's got to start to ask himself what he's doing. If he's been in big league clubhouses for most of his career, now he's riding around on the bus. It's probably a pretty dark.
He's 31 years old. He's getting up there, but
and he's done it. He's done it. At some point the career is what it is. But you make the big leagues, you've done it, man. Jacob Doyle says delayed at the airport. Thank God you guys are on. Nothing worse than the airport delays, man. My goodness. And they just lead you on, too, don't they? They just, we got a little maintenance problem here. We think it'll be about an hour delay, and then hour turns into 3 hours, and then 3 hours is like, we got a bigger problem. We're getting another plane. It'll be here in the next hour, and then it's 3 more hours. They just lead you on, and then all of a sudden you're there for 8 hours, and you just got nothing. You got nothing you can do about it. So hopefully that all goes well, Jacob. I don't have high hopes for you, but maybe it will. But I do have high hopes for Thursdays. You know why? You know why, Craig?
Well, I certainly hope your girlfriend isn't leading you on. That's the key here, right? I mean, you might be led on by the airlines, you might be led on by a lot of your employer, but hopefully your partner is not leading you on, and you guys can go engagement ring shopping together, because engagement ring shopping should feel exciting, because it is, Trace. At Richter and Phillips Jewelers, their team makes the entire process easy and stress-free. You don't need to know anything going in. They'll walk you through diamonds, ring settings, and every detail step by step in a relaxed, no-pressure environment. Whether you're shopping big or working within a budget, they'll help you find the perfect ring and make sure you leave feeling confident and excited, not overwhelmed or misled. Richter and Phillips has been helping Cincinnati couples get engaged for more than 130 years. They were doing this before the Bengals were even a team. Book your appointment today using the link in our YouTube or podcast description.
I love it. Love it. All right, let's head into the back half of the rundown. Sal Stewart's home run, one of the bigger, most clutch swings that I feel like he's had. I mean, I guess circumstances probably could say that it's not that big of a deal based off the team's record, but just based off of the situation in the game and the ability to kind of rectify the wrong that I had mentioned with Arroyo not getting to third base, and then obviously would have scored, kind of added salt to the wound. But it was a big swing, and it was also a swing I felt like that kind of showcased just how good of a hitter he is, Craig, because I don't think he got fooled, but I certainly don't think it was a pitch that he was hunting. It was a pitch that was elevated kind of towards the outside part of the plate, and he was able to just be an athlete and go out there and get it and put the barrel on the ball, and hits one out to right field, which is obviously an oppo for him, and showcases, he's legit, man. You can say whatever you want about Sal Stewart. This kid can hit, and if I'm at the point now where if he turns into one of the the fallen core next year, I think I might just give up. I mean, because it's like I did believe in Matt McClain. I thought Matt McClain was going to be a stud in this league, and then I said that fizzled out. Tyler Stevenson looked like he was going to be an absolute machine offensively, and he's been okay. I don't want to make it sound like he's been bad, but I don't think he ever lived up to maybe the expectations that we all put on him after he had his rookie year there. I don't see how this guy can't be great, and it's nice to see Sal Stewart continue to do Sal Stewart things.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sal's struggled a little bit since the break, just 2 for 22 since the All-Star break, but he's come up big. He had that home run in Colorado. Now he has the home run here, the big home run in Seattle that kind of put him over the top and gave him the win today and the series win. And to your point, when he's going the opposite way, a little bit like Tyler Stevenson, at least in my eyes, like that's the indicator that he's really starting to like see the ball now. Tyler Stevenson had that opposite field double today down the right field line. I feel a little bit like Sal and Ty Steve have that similar makeup where you start to see him going the other way, especially with power, is when you can really start to feel like they're honing in and being able to see the ball a little bit better. So obviously a little bit of a struggle here out of the gate, but hopefully now his second home run in 4 games, he can pick it up and continue to carry this team in the second half. And him and Elly can continue to be that 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup that I know you and Nick talked about last night, that can kind of propel this team and pick up some more wins.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the CBA has anything to do with the idea of the Reds wanting to extend him or not extend him. Or maybe Chase Burns' situation had to get resolved before they started to maybe take a look at Sal Stewart. I don't certainly want to get ahead of the skis perhaps and sit here and act like they have to extend Sal Stewart or something along those lines. But it'll be interesting to see if the teams that went and extended their young players, like many teams around this league have, if they get rewarded based off of the new CBA agreement, or if they get penalized based off the fact that they for some reason, the way that things shuffled out, it's actually better to not have somebody long term. I don't know what it'll end up being, obviously, but Sal Stewart's a guy that you'd like to think that you would want as a part of your franchise, because he just brings the it factor that I don't think many guys have. I think he thinks that he is going to be in the Hall of Fame, which, he reminds me, and I've said this maybe before on the show, or maybe I haven't. I don't know. We've done so many of them anymore. I can't remember. But I'll jump sports here really quickly, as I've done sometimes. I remember when Jamar Chase got interviewed, first time that I remember hearing him getting interviewed, with a Bengals reporter. He was sitting down in the Bengals locker room, and they asked him, what his expectations were, and he looked him right in the face and said, my expectations are I'm going to break every wide receiver record that they have at this place. Now, the Bengals have had some good wide receivers. That comment seemed like it came out of left field. It kind of seemed arrogant. And then after he plays for a couple seasons, you're like, that really wasn't all that arrogant. I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what he will do, more than likely, God willing, and he stays healthy. Sal Stewart kind of feels the same way. I mean, when Terry Francona said, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, I feel like this kid thinks that he's going to make the Hall of Fame, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not going to make it. And that's, again, maybe a little ahead of my skis because he's a rookie, and you can't sit there and say crazy stuff like that and not at least back off of it a little bit. But that's the type of attitude, and it's the type of personality I think you have to have in order to get out of the slums that the Reds organization have found themselves in. There's no time to feel sorry for yourself anymore. There's no time to think that we can't do it. You got to have guys in the clubhouse that just don't give a damn anymore, and they want to make a difference, and they're gonna will themselves to get it done. And I know that this sounds insane, but I do have a strong belief and just your own ability to will things into existence, whether you speak them in your mind or whether you speak them outwardly. I do believe that in life, and I've seen it with my own life. I've seen it with other people that have just seemed like they were braggadociously confident, and you're like, man, that kind of can come off a little bit wrong. But those people, more times than not, if they stick with it, they wind up on the good side more often than not, and Sal Stewart's one of those guys, and I hope the Reds can find a way to make him part of a longer rendition than just a rookie contract. So we'll see whether or not that happens. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but we shall find out at a later date. JJ Bleday continues to play. You want to add on to that?
Just real quick. One of the things that's kind of stood out to me over the last 2 years, and I'm going to blame Tito because I don't know who else to blame. is that this team feels like it lost a little bit of its swag that it had in like 2023 and 2024 100%. When McClain and Elly and all those guys, they had this like overconfidence and swag that when you watched them, they were having fun. They felt like they were going to win every game. And to your point, they felt like they were going to be Hall of Famers. And now it just feels like over the last year and a half that this team has kind of lost that little bit of swag. You can see it at times, right? Like Sal hits that home run today and he gets excited and celebrates. And sometimes you can see that from Elly, but like in reality, I just don't feel like they have that same swagger that they had 2 years ago. And so whether that's Tito putting the kibosh on it or whatever, my firm belief is that this team with this core will be best if it is allowed to be themselves. And I think that's something that Tito really needs to think about if he's going to continue to manage this team, is that we have 4 guys who realistically are pretty swaggy at the core of this team with Sal, Elly, Hunter, and Chase. All 4 of those guys have confidence and exuberance about them that when they're successful, you can see it on the field. And I would love to see Terry just let them go and be themselves and have a good time and have fun playing this game that we've played since we were 5 years old, and let them go out there and just have fun and be swaggy. And I think that's part of the reason why at times this team just doesn't look like they're having fun. Even at the start of the year when they were 20-11, I didn't look at them and say, man, that is a team that is hot right now and confident and moving forward. They're going to win a lot of ball games, because it felt like it was business-like. I want it to be fun.
That's fair. Yeah, I understand the sentiment. I also think that, obviously, I don't think I'm breaking news here, that you just need better players. And if you can get a bunch of better players, then it'll all work itself out. All right, JJ Bleday finds a way to, continue to provide some value to this team, and we'll see if it provides value at the deadline or not. But it's going to be a controversial decision, I think, more than likely at the deadline, whether they end up trading him or keeping him. But today, again, he produces and he's got some pop. Like that at this point now, where you look at Bleday. I'm trying to pull him up on the fly here, but he's just. I'm trying to figure out if it's just a little bit of like, I don't want to call it luck. That's not the right word. Fluky might not be the right word, but I'm trying to figure out if this is realistic to be consistent. And whenever you pick a guy up off the scrap heap and you don't really have to pay anything for him, and he pretty much was given away, you maybe that's the reason I feel the way that I do, instead of a guy like JJ Bleday, who was a top prospect, right, Craig, that just came up and you hadn't seen him before and he hadn't been in the big leagues yet and he's producing like this, then he would be off the limits to get traded, right? Like, so I'm trying to figure that out in my own internal mind of like, why do I feel as if he is more than tradable versus a guy like Sal Stewart or someone like that, where, you've got homegrown talent coming up. I'm sure some of it has to do with the fact that at one point he wasn't valued, so then that makes him a little less valuable. But that honestly shouldn't always be the case, to be fair.
I think there's a certain level of just connection to players that come up through your organization, whether it be through the draft or just you get them early on in their careers, like even with Noelvi Marte and Edwin Arroyo, where you've seen them in the minors for a couple of years and now all of a sudden you're seeing them at the majors and you're hoping that they can be successful like they were at that level. Like, we weren't really following JJ Bleday before he was a Red, right? Like, we knew about him. We knew he was a high draft pick, but like, we didn't follow him in the minors. We didn't follow his major league career. And so I think that connection is probably a little bit lacking in terms of what you're feeling, right? I think there's also something to be said for the fact that, look, we got this guy, to your point, for basically nothing. We signed him to a minor league deal, comes in, he's arbitration eligible and under team control for another 3 years, but like, we don't really have any sort of connection to him. And so if you can flip him for something of significant value, I think you should listen to that, because he's just not part of like the long-term plan. He was a guy that you brought in as a depth piece, and now all of a sudden he's turned into an everyday player. Like, your plans and expectations for him are much easier replaced than what your plans and expectations were for Sal.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the Reds do at the deadline. As I've said before, I think it should be damn near a fire sale to a certain extent, but I don't know if it will be. And the fact that they're proclaiming that they're interested in, assets that have that come with some control, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I mean, I guess they think that they're close, which I've said before. I don't know how close they really are, despite the fact that I think they do have some really, really good players. They're just going to have to, the truth is they're going to have to get someone to come back to form. And I don't know who that is going to be, but someone's going to have to come back to form, whether it be Cabrian Hayes stepping up and being a great, and that's hilariously said out loud. I'm kind of off the bandwagon, to be quite frank. But whether it be him, whether it be Matt McLean, TJ Friedel, but again, like I say these things like hesitantly because it just seems impossible, and I don't even want to try it, to be frank. I don't even want to entertain the option of those three guys having to be good, because it seems like it's impossible for that to happen. But that also, in the back of my mind, feels like the quickest path forward to getting back into a spot where you have a team that can go and do something that we all want them to do, which is get into the postseason and possibly have a chance to advance. But we shall find out. All right, we already obviously discussed Arroyo, so we will jump forward from there. Schmick wanted to know what happened to Lauder. Came out of college with great placement, but he just can't seem to get it back. I've been high on him, but I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, I hate to say this, but anytime you have an injury, it can change who you are. I still believe in him. I still think there's a chance that he can, rectify the little bit of dry spell, if you want to call it that he's run himself into. But I still believe in Rhett Lauder. I think that he's should be a serviceable arm in this league, and if he's another victim to the lack of development in this organization, then at some point the proof's in the pudding, right, guys? Like, you can't continue to have guys that come up that seemingly are MLB ready, that have a good year or maybe 2 years, and then they just fall off planet Earth, as we feel like we found out. Now, one could say, well, it's not so much development, it's just the fact that you didn't have really good players and you got lucky for a year. And that's the thing that absolutely sucks about the situation that we find ourselves in my opinion, with the Reds franchise. Is on one hand, you could say it's development. Clearly, look at it. It's development. You got Benson. You got McLean. You got Friedel. You got all these guys that were supposedly a part of the quote-unquote core that are guys that aren't even on big league rosters anymore, hardly. And to that, I would say that's fair. That's a good point. But on the other end, how often have we seen guys that just aren't good enough to be big league players? They start in the Reds organization, Craig, and then we try our best to revitalize them time and time again, and then they go somewhere else and they're out of the league. I mean, granted, Nick Senzel, you could say that it took him a while to become kind of an unrestricted free agent in the league before he ran his time up, but it's not like Nick Senzel left the Reds and wound up being an all-star level player year after year. Yes, I guess you could go back and you could point to the Edwin Encarnaciones of the world and maybe ends up being another Encarnacion. We'll see here soon if that's the case. I don't know. He's obviously playing for Baltimore right now and hitting home runs, but it's still too early to tell. I don't know what it is, but ultimately at the end of the day, it feels like change has to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I'll just sit back and continue to watch and probably be a little depressed about it all and hope that it changes. But I really think to revitalize the fan base, winning is the only thing that's going to matter. At this point, this fan base has heard it all. They've heard the rebuild. They've heard the managers changing. They've heard that there's organizational philosophy change about, we're going to do this or that. It got nothing to show for it for a long time, Craig. So we'll see ultimately what they wind up doing.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people want to look at the different players that the Reds have moved on from. And some of them, most of them have flamed out. Obviously the Gavin Lux trade has been picked apart a lot of late, but honestly, one of the things that like I struggle with is like, do you really believe that he's going to perform the way he's performed if he's in the Reds organization? Like, do you honestly believe that Mike Sirota as a Cincinnati Red is going to develop the way he's developed so far as a Los Angeles Dodger? I don't know. I don't know that I believe that, but it doesn't really matter. We'll never know. But hey, here we go. You want to do a little MILB?
I love MILB. Speaking of which, really quickly, I shame on me for not keeping my tabs up of Gavin Lux, but he's just been hurt all year or what?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Trying to remember what it is, but yeah, he's hurt. Shoulder injury.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
played this year.
Not a single game.
Yep.
That's it. That's the thing that's crazy is like he might not ever play again. I mean.
Yep. Initially placed on the injured list during spring training with a right shoulder impingement, suffered a unrelated setback in April when he sprained his ankle during a rehab game. In May, he was shut down during rehab due to inflammation in his shoulder, moved to the 60-day IL, and he's currently on a rehab or was moved to a rehab assignment in late June, but hit another setback a couple weeks ago and recently got another injection. So yeah, yet to see the major league field this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a shame. I don't like when guys get hurt. And
yeah,
part of the game though, unfortunately. And as guys get older, it doesn't get easier to come back. So we'll see. All right, Reds MILB, Craig.
Let's do it. Cincinnati legend Anthony Munoz has a new venture, and we're fired up to partner with it here on Chatterbox Reds. Introducing 78 Cigars, a premium cigar line from the Hall of Famer himself. If you love great cigars and Cincinnati football history, this is the perfect combination. You can grab 78 cigars right now at both Montgomery and locations or over at Creekside Cigar Company. You can also check them out online. Just head to anthonymunoz.com. Click on the 78 Cigars page at the top to learn more or place your order today. That's 78 Cigars from the greatest offensive lineman to ever do it, Anthony Munoz. Well, one of the, joys of doing a game at this time is that there wasn't a lot of action completed just yet, but Louisville and Toledo should be starting here in just a couple minutes. Biloxi and Chattanooga also getting ready to get underway, as is Cedar Rapids and Dayton. Low A Daytona, they already played. They had a day game today. They lost 11-1 to Clearwater. Tortugas are now 36-54 on the year, having their 4-game winning streak snapped. They're now 15-9 in the second half, but maintain a 1.5 game lead in their division. Arnaldo Lantigua was 1 for 3 with a walk. Ichiro Kano was 2 for 4 with a double. Bernard Moon had a single, and Rafael Torres also singled. The ACL Reds will host the ACL Padres at 9 p.m. tonight. And the DSL Reds, they were 8-4 winners over the DSL Braves earlier today. They're now 21-14 on the season. Libertz Aponte, 3 for 5 on the day. And Angel Salillo, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. We talked about Rhett Lauder, Trace.
Yep.
We're going to see him again soon.
All right. Well, we got a little who, what, when, where, and why. We'll be back in action. Obviously, there's an off day tomorrow, but we'll be back in action on Friday. Craig, who we got?
Well, Reds have an off day, as Trace said, on Thursday before they start a 3-game series in St. Louis against the Cardinals. Matchups are looking like Rhett Lauder versus Dustin May on Friday, Hunter Green taking the mound against Andre Palante on Saturday, and then Andrew Abbott squaring off with Kyle Leahy in the finale on Sunday. Lauder, as we talked about before, has been struggling. He's 3-7 on the year with a 5.75 ERA. His first start back in the rotation earlier this week against Colorado went just 2 1/3 inning pitched, 11 hits, 8 runs. Didn't walk anybody in those 2 1/3 and struck out 2. In his career against the Cardinals, Lauder has 2 starts. He's 1-0 with a 0.00 ERA. He did face them earlier this year. Back in June. It was his return from an IL stint. Went 3 innings, gave up just 1 hit, no runs, but he walked 5 in the outing, throwing 70 pitches in just those 3 innings. He did strike out 4. Not a lot of success against Rhett Lauder do the Cardinals have. Jordan Walker's 1 for 4. Pedro Pages is 1 for 2. And then everybody else a combined 0 for 11. Reds will face off with Dustin May on Friday. He's 5-7 on the year with a 4.78 ERA. Hasn't pitched more than 5 innings in a game since his complete game 1-hit shutout of the Padres on June 15th. The last time he pitched was against Arizona earlier this week. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. May's never faced the Reds, which was surprising to me. Only 4 Reds have ever faced him in general. Gino's 3 for 6 with a home run. Nathaniel Lowe 2 for 6 with a home run. Blade and Trevino both 0 and 3. First pitch on Friday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. And as always, Chatterbox Reds will be live in the 9th inning for your complete coverage.
Yep. Well, let's hope Brett Lauder throws like Brady Singer did, and maybe that'll make him somewhat look like him. What do you think, Craig?
Hey, maybe he's got to cut his hair.
Fair enough. The beautiful thing is that I know you have no clue what I'm talking about, and that's more than okay. And you know what? You know what? That'll be a moment between me and the chat. We'll all have that together. But nonetheless, Reds win 5-3. They win their first series ever in Seattle, and that is that's remarkable. What a remarkable stat. It's beautiful. I don't know how it is out there where you're from, Craig, but it is absolutely gorgeous outside in the Cincinnati area. If you get a chance, go outside, enjoy a nice, lovely walk this evening. The Reds win 5-3, and we'll see if they can't find a way to make it 3 in a row. And as we all know, we probably need to get to 20, 25 in a row to get ourselves in a spot where we have a real legitimate chance. And hey, laugh all you want, think all you want, but in order to get to 20, maybe 25, I don't know, you got to get to 2. Reds have gotten to 2. We'll see if they can't make it 3 on Friday. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. See you, everybody.
This is unreal.